With me is Daniel Gross, economics editor for Yahoo Finance. All right, Dan, you see I'm worked up about it, but tell me where I'm wrong. They said 100 million. This isn't 100 billion, is it?
Well, what we're witnessing is what I've called, and I'm trying to trademark this, the fiscal clown show. It's like one of those deals where, you know, the little car comes up and then one clown comes out and another, and they're every stripe. They're conservative Republicans, they're moderate Republicans, and actually President Obama himself has played a big role in this, because the first thing that happened after the election was, remember, he was saying, well, we're not going to let the tax cuts extend for those above 250,000 because, hey, our deficit's above $1 trillion. And then, of course, he signed off on that. So this is a bipartisan fiscal clown show affair. And I think what people need to know about the deficit hawks is that 98.5% of them are not serious or to be believed. It's something you wield as a cudgel to hit your opponent over the head with. And then when time comes for governing, for making difficult choices, there's a punt. You know, it's never a good time to cut taxes. It's never a good time to cut spending. You know, St. Augustine had that famous line, give me chastity, but not quite yet.
Right, exactly.
Give me austerity, but not until after the next election.
Dan, there's like 3 real deficit hawks in the country, and I'm actually one of them, okay? I don't believe in any of the tax cuts. I didn't want the tax cuts for the rich. I didn't even want them for the middle class, okay? Because you know why? Because it puts a $400 billion hole in the budget, and we just can't afford it. So now, and you're right, President Obama went along with that. He cut the deal, et cetera, et cetera. He says, oh my God, I'll cut, get reasonable tax rates, but 2 years from now. Exactly to your St. Augustine line. But having said that, the Republican Party, this is their big thing. This is what they run on. They say, all right, look, I'm the guy who balanced the budget. But they've never balanced the budget. Right. Reagan didn't balance the budget. George W. Bush didn't balance the budget. They never do it. And here, do they think, are they stupid, or do they think their followers are stupid? Who can't do math?
That's a difficult choice. It could be both. But when the difference is that governing, which they haven't had to do for the last couple of years, and which they did a pretty poor job of when they actually had the levers of power, it's much harder than campaigning. And you see this, first of all, with health care. Remember, they been saying for a year, we're going to repeal and replace. Well, they vote to repeal. The replacement is something, they haven't had time to work something out.
Oh, yeah,
It's a similar
that's coming.
thing. They run on the balanced budget, rolling it back to 2008. And there's a difference between simply saying, we shall not spend X amount of money, which Paul Ryan is doing. He's at the committee where he can just sort of say that without actually having to implement it. And then the appropriators having to say, okay, this line is going down 80%, this line is going down 50%. Nobody seems to have gone through that exercise. That was always something that was put off until after the election. Look, the Senate's not going to take it up because that's controlled by Democrats, and Obama's not going to sign whatever we're going to do anyway. So really, what's the point?
Right?
They're going to do something symbolic without saying, by the way, we want to cut education spending 90%.
Right, that's the classic cop-out. Oh, we'd be really tough, but all these Democrats. And the Democrats do the same trick. They go, oh, we balanced the budget, but all these Republicans, either way, we had to give the tax cuts to the rich. And that goes to my last point, Dan. This is redistribution of wealth. You give this massive tax cut that goes mainly to the top 1%, and then when it's time to cut, you go, I got to cut the entitlements, I got to cut Social Security, I got to cut the things for the middle class, I got to give you more pollution, that hurts everybody. Isn't that redistribution of wealth to the top?
Well, the misdirection is even beyond that, because we frequently hear people say, we have this entitlements problem. That's what's going to sink us in the long term. Social Security, aside from not being in trouble, has helped keep us solvent for all these years, because over the last 20 years, these surpluses have built up. They don't put them in the lockbox that Al Gore used to talk about. They spend it every year. So if we hadn't been spending in the 90s, and especially in this past decade, that Social Security surplus, the deficits and the national debt would be even larger. So there is a lot of misdirection about who needs to pay and whose hide that should come out of to deal with the long-term structural imbalances that we have.
Right, absolutely right. And then they're going to come to raid Social Security and say, oh, sorry, the money's gone. And when that happens, I'm going to explode. So, you think I'm angry now. Wait till you get a load of me then. But Dan Gross, great reporting. Thank you so much for joining us on this. Really appreciate it.
Good to be here.